I set out to see if the hype was true and whether Etsy print-on-demand success was as possible as the gurus all said it would be. As a result, I created an astonishing 700 listings in less than 5 months. I'm now almost a year into it, so I want to take you all the way back to the beginning and talk about why I did it, how I did it, the outcome of it all, and would I do it again? In case we haven't met yet, my name is Mandy, and this channel is all about providing simplified solutions for your Etsy print-on-demand journey so that you can find success with this as well. To start with, I am not new to entrepreneurship at all or running my own business. I started with Etsy in 2017 with my handmade skincare business that is now a 6-figure business that I run off of Shopify. I even had a cupcake business for a few years back in 2011, so I definitely have that entrepreneurship spirit. So last year, as an additional creative outlet, I explored print on demand as an alternative to making apparel myself with a heat press and screen print transfer, because I quickly learned with that method that doing it all yourself is really labor intensive and also super expensive to handle all the inventory that may or may not sell, which for me was simply not feasible given that I was already running a handmade business on top of all of this. I need a solution where I could still have my creative outlet, create all the designs that I wanted to, but didn't have to worry about inventory or fulfilling any of the orders myself. And that is when Printify came to the rescue and made things super easy, because all I need to worry about is doing the design and selling of the product, and they handle everything else. But back to the 700 listings. First of all, why? Well, since all of the gurus on TikTok said that Q4 was the best time to sell, the mission that I set for myself when I started all of this was to run up that hill as fast as I could, get as many quality listings out there as I could, so that I would be ready for all of those Q4 sales to start raining in. The allure of Q4 definitely had me hooked, but I also knew from past experience that volume played a big part of it, and would ultimately give me the best chance of success on Etsy in a shorter amount of time. To be clear, you don't have to have 700 listings, you don't have to have 100 listings, but I have found that there is definitely a clear advantage to volume when you do it correctly. That being said, I started early in the process with pretty generic designs, but learned pretty quickly right out of the gate that the magic was in being able to identify the ideal customer for these products and designs, understanding items that they may be searching for, and ultimately then tailoring my designs and keywords in a way that would appeal to these specific audiences and markets. Translation, niches. And this is where the how comes into play. I did a fair amount of keyword and niche research along the way, particularly using tools like eRank and Etsy Hunt in my searches. This helped me to understand which particular niches would be less saturated and where I stood the best chance of standing out with my own designs. This then gave me an actual plan when I sat down to create designs, because then I had kind of a roadmap of ideas and topics and themes that I could use within my designs. If you're sitting down to a blank canvas when you go to design with no plan in mind, it's going to be a lot harder to pump out a bunch of designs in a short amount of time. So going in with a plan was a big part of it. I pretty much always have a running list of ideas and themes and topics that I've researched and can pull from whenever I am ready to sit down and do some design work. It allows me to be so much more efficient with my time. From there, then I'm able to work in batches. And by that, I mean I will do 10 and 15 designs at one sitting. Then I'll take those designs, put them all on mockups all at once. Then I'll take those designs and upload them all to Printify to create my actual products all at once. And then, you guessed it, I will finalize those listings in Etsy all at once. So in a relatively short amount of time, I can knock out 10, 15, 20 listings pretty efficiently. And the great part about this is if I don't have time to sit down and do it all at once, I'm able to work in what I call blocks of time, meaning I can break up that batching. I can do all of my design in one sitting. I could do my mockups in another sitting. I could create my Printify products in another sitting, and I could finish my Etsy listings in another sitting. By having all of that in batches, I can break that up so that it fits with my schedule and I can work it into my day without feeling like I'm stuck or that I'm constantly having the process interrupted along the way. If you want to see all of this in action in more detail and how I use Canva to help with this process, I've linked my design and mockup video. It's part of my masterclass playlist that's all entirely available for free right here on YouTube, and so definitely check that out. So like I said, some days I might have 5 listings that I'm creating, or other days I might be able to knock out 20. It just depended, but it gave me the freedom freedom to fit that work in as I had time to, while still being efficient and still getting a lot accomplished in a relatively short amount of time. The other great process, and by having these batches of designs, is that it made the process very repeatable. So if I already have a group of designs ready in one batch, I can duplicate that in Canva and repurpose that design style for an entirely different niche. And it ultimately makes the process go that much faster because I'm simply repurposing designs and styles that I've already worked on and just reusing them for a different niche. So it gives me a way to test out, does this design style work better for this niche, or do they both work well? And so again, when we're talking about volume, it's all about creating efficient processes and systems that allow you to repeat that process and move through those processes very quickly. And in my situation, since I was creating a general store concept, meaning I didn't necessarily target one individual niche in my shop, I actually have a variety of niches that I've researched and looked into and that I designed for, and I simply keep them organized within different sections, but it allows me to have lots of different designs across a lot of different niches and really grow this shop very, very quickly. The other part of my how is with Etsy ads. Now I know there is a bit of a love-hate relationship when it comes to Etsy ads, and that's okay. But my purpose for using them, especially in the beginning, was very intentional so that I could get volume and data. Turning Etsy ads on means that Etsy is showing your listings to lots of people across lots of searches with lots of different keywords, which means the more eyeballs that are seeing your listings, the more data that you'll get and can use to make decisions for your shop. By turning them on, I was strategically able to look at my listing data and start seeing immediately which listings were getting the most traction, which listings were starting to get more clicks and views, and which listings and design styles ultimately converted into sales, and which listings, quite frankly, weren't converting at all. Because here's the thing, with data, you get knowledge, and with the knowledge, you get power. With this knowledge that I was now equipping myself with based on data from my shop, I could start tailoring my design process and make more of what was working. And I could see which niches were getting better traffic that would ultimately end up being more profitable because there are more searches and more people willing and ready to buy in those niches. And so again, I could make more of those with different designs and different keywords, adding personalization options, all of those sorts of things. Then the magic in this is that as you start to see that traction, as you start to get sales, you also start to get reviews. And as those reviews continue to come in, assuming they're good, of course, your store starts to organically get a boost in Etsy's ranking algorithm. And that is really a big key in unlocking success within Etsy, is being able to rank higher in that Etsy search algorithm. Again, do you have to do it this way? Absolutely not. Can you simply rely on organic traffic and no paid ads? Absolutely. But just know that it's typically going to take longer in that scenario because you have to wait for the Etsy algorithm to really start picking up and understanding what your store is selling and who it's really targeted for. And remember, my entire goal in this was to fast track my shop and speed up that ranking process so that by the time I got to Q4, my shop would be in the best position possible to be successful. If you want to take a deeper dive into my Etsy ad strategy and see behind the scenes how I work that in one of my shops, definitely check that out. I've linked the video specifically for my traffic module and you'll get to see all the details. So how did it go? Well, by October of 2022, I had over 700 listings. By the end of 2022, I had made over $80,000 in revenue, including a wild day in November where I had 91 sales in one day. Definitely couldn't have done that all by myself with a heat press, given that this is also the busy time of year for my handmade business as well. And in March of 2023, just a little over a month ago from the date of this video, I hit that 6-figure mark. And as of today, I have almost 1,000 listings in that original shop, all while striving to maintain a 20 to 30% average profit margin, which is that take-home percentage after things like fees, product costs, and all of that good stuff. I do still use Etsy ads to gauge interest in new listings or if I'm adding on a different niche and want to see how well those listings are going to perform. And I also use them to continue supporting listings that do well within those ads, meaning they have a high return on ad spend. To be clear, I do not run ads on my entire shop, especially now that I am past that initial startup phase. So ultimately, would I do it again? Absolutely. But I would probably do a few things differently. Number one, I'd start sooner. I wish I had discovered print on demand a lot sooner because it is honestly phenomenal for anyone wanting to run your own product-based business without having to worry about buying inventory or fulfilling anything yourself. Number two, I would definitely target niche audiences a lot sooner. You do not have to have a niche specific shop. As I said, my primary shop is very much a general store, but I do believe that having specific keywords, specific design strategies, specific audiences that you are targeting in those areas really helps you to stand out, really helps you to target your design process. And anytime you can incorporate those as part of your keywords and how people are searching for products and finding your items, the better off your shop will be and the better chance your listings will have of being seen. You can have the greatest design in the world, but if your keyword strategy does not align with that, you will struggle. Same thing goes, you could have a phenomenal keyword strategy, but if your design does not align with your ideal buyer and those keywords that you're using to find that buyer, again, you will struggle. So just keep that in mind, that it all kind of needs to work together. And the more you can hone in on who your target audience is, not only will it be easier to design for them and have a plan going into it, but the easier it will be to then start ranking within those search results as well. And number three on my list of things that I do differently is that I would definitely jump on personalization sooner. I was definitely super nervous about personalization and I didn't get started on it right away. I was worried that it was either going to be too time consuming, too difficult, too complex, all those things. And the fact of the matter is, it's not. It's a whole lot easier than you might think it is. But the beauty of it is that with personalization and having the option to have custom items for your buyers, it helps you to stand out in niches where there is a lot more competition. And it also gives you the opportunity for buyers who are looking for multiples, things like bachelorette parties, family cruises, family vacations, things like that. You can exponentially increase your profit margin on your listings. If you're curious about how that works, I've linked a video that I created that walks through the entire personalization process. Again, it's super easy and definitely worthwhile to check out and see if it's something that you can incorporate in your own shop. I promise it's not as scary as you might think it is. So again, the moral of the story is, do you have to do it the way that I did it? No. In fact, most gurus will tell you not to do just about everything I did. Most of the time they will tell you, do not flood your shop with listings, do not turn on Etsy ads, do not do all of those things. But you know what? I did it and it was worth the risk and I learned a lot in the process. And by breaking a few rules and strategically setting out to fast track my Etsy shop, I was able to see results faster than most shops typically do. Yes, sometimes you'll run into technical issues. Yes, sometimes you'll have the nightmare customer. Yes, sometimes your package will get lost in the mail and you'll have to reach out to the customer and get it fixed. These things happen. But guess what? I run a handmade business and these things are just a normal part of business and can happen to anyone. They're not exclusive to print on demand. You just need to make sure you know how to deal with it. But not only do I completely love the process and love the ability to design as much as I want on pretty much anything I want, and Printify takes care of the rest, this extra income pays for family outings. It's paid off credit card debt. And overall, it just contributes to our family's financial stability. And did I mention it's a ton of fun? I'm honestly super excited to see what Q4 brings this year. And I guarantee you I will definitely be doing another big push this summer so that I can keep growing my shop and I'm ready for it. I hope this has been helpful for you. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. I do try to answer all of them when I can. And make sure you're subscribed to this channel so you don't miss out on any of the upcoming content. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next time. And if you're looking for more helpful ways to continue the work and stay connected, I invite you to join me over on Patreon, where I provide a membership to get exclusive access to my Google Drive with all sorts of wonderful tools and resources that I've created and continue adding to every month. It's also a place to join conversations as I think about future content and how I can serve you with the most amount of value. I also hope that you'll smash that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on all of the exciting upcoming content that I've got planned for this channel. And finally, I invite you to check out my brand new website where you can subscribe to my own email list, follow along on new blog content that I will be building, and access other freebies that I have available on there to support you on your journey.